Okay, I'm hoping this is the start of some regular videos I'm going to do documenting my hair loss. So basically, yeah, I plan to do these weekly videos, and even if I don't have much to talk about, just find something to talk about. I mean, it's hair loss. There's always something to talk about. Um, I'm sure anyone who's gone through this has been on Reddit all this time and, just reading through posts, endlessly clicking through videos at break on their job or just on the job. I mean, I used to do that. I worked a blue collar job for a little bit. And when things were slow, I would just sit there scrolling through a whole bunch of stuff. So, where I'm starting is currently I'm on Dutasteride, zero point 0.5 mgs. I don't know if that's milligrams. I'll just say mgs. I'll find out in the future. Or someone can let me know in the comments. And, you know, I've been doing that for a whole year now. And as you can see, I've still receded a lot. I mean, I've basically got, if you watch Red Letter Media, I've sort of got a Mike Stacklasa hairline going on here, except he's a lot older than me, you know? So it sucks to have this much recession this young. I mean, I'm really at the point where during these updates at some point I'm probably just going to buzz it really short. Like I'll probably get one more haircut and get it pretty short, pretty close, and then I'll just buzz it. And I still want to keep up with treatments, but in lieu of anything working, I just want to start shaving it now and get used to it. Because if nothing's going to work, I mean, that's what I'm going to have to do. It's one of those things where people will tell me, oh, well, why do you shave it now? Why not enjoy your hair while you have it? Well, I don't want to be at the point where I absolutely have to shave it because, I mean, look how high my hairline is. Like, it's crazy high at this point. But I don't want to be at the point where it's even further along and, now it looks terrible. Um, so I just figured, get it out of the way and get used to it. And then if I have progress, well, if I can stabilize it, if I can stabilize it, even if I can't get any regrowth, if I can at least stabilize it, I can consider growing it back out. And then also, if it stabilizes for a while, maybe think about um, getting a transplant to make up for all that's lost. Because if I was to get a transplant now, I mean, this would just keep receding and it would look really awkward. But if I was to get it stabilized, then I think getting a transplant is very viable, and I'm not against getting surgery, even with the risk. It's hair, so it's worth any risk. This is going to be disorganized, by the way, because I've recorded myself on camera before, but not talking about something like this. And I'm just actually waiting for my for the pharmacy to open. They're on lunch break right now, and I just realized that when I pulled in. So I figured I would drive around and find a good place to park and record the first one of these. Um, it's not going to be professional. It's not going to be planned out. But if I waited to do that, I would never do them. I have a pretty busy days outside of adding another thing on. But I want to do this because I'm sure it would be therapeutic, and I'm sure it's going to help other hair loss sufferers. Heck, being a hair loss sufferer, I know we just like consume this content immensely. It's like the only thing that sort of makes you feel better when you're thinking about it. So I just parked in this random park here because it's a cold, snowy day in Ohio. And no one else is really here. A car just drove past, but I hope I'm allowed to park here. This isn't in my usual town, so I don't know. Maybe there's a rule. If a cop car comes in the background, that's how you. And then the camera cuts. That's how you'll know. Um, but yeah, I should talk about my routine. Now, there's a lot of history here. I'm not going to cover it all right now because, once again, that's overwhelming. If I thought like that, I'd never get this started. I'm open to any questions about my hair loss history. It is currently March 2023, March 14th, 2023. I have been actively battling hair loss since 2015. And eventually I would like to do some videos where I throw up some pictures. I I have crazy amounts of images vlogging my hair throughout the years. They're not all from the same angle, so it's not perfect. They're not all at the same length, but I think they're better than what most people have, or at very least better than what most people are willing to provide. I mean, I've never had the mentality that some people seem to have where they're like, well, I'm going to comb over my hair loss and hide it. I'm like, look, if I don't have a full head of hair, I don't, or a reasonable head of hair. Like, I basically don't care about, you know, hiding it. So in images, at least I think most of the time, you could see my hair loss. I mean, for a while I had a ponytail, and I pulled it back, just straight back most of the time. So you could see my hairline pretty well, and you could also see all those little dying hairs really well. I'm just amazed. Whenever I look at this from the front, it's like it looks okay, but as soon as I do this, you can just see how recessed it is. And it is not, like, this side, I don't know, it doesn't seem as recessed, and it seems like I've had these little baby hairs springing up for a while now. But they never seem to, like, go anywhere. They look a little different than the dead hairs, almost like that peach fuzz. So it's almost like they're perpetual baby hairs. I don't think it's recessed anymore, and that's in this one. I guess if I'm talking about it, I should show, like, here. Not gonna see it well on this camera. But, okay, what did I want to talk about? What am I doing right now? Well, as of now, I was doing Dutasteride twice a week. I've been doing that for a solid year now. Prior to that, I was doing finasteride. And I think it was, I don't know, 1 mg. I was doing 1 mg, and I was doing that for a while, and I noticed more recession. So I went on Dutasteride twice a week. I thought that was the normal thing. Turns out, a lot of people online either recommend you do 2.5 twice a week, or, I don't know, 3 times a week, something like that, or you do 0.5 mgs and you do it daily. So my dermatologist upped me to daily doses. So 0.5 mg daily. That's what I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future. That's the prescription I'm going to be picking up now. So as you watch more and more of these, you'll know that's what I'm doing until I say otherwise. And we will see how that works for me. Once again, that's 0.5 Dutasteride. It's generic. That generic name brand thing always kind of scares me. I frankly don't have enough money for Avodart, the name brand. I don't even know if I could get it. And yeah. I probably would have enough money if I was using that as my only treatment, but to get into my other treatment, for the past, I'll say 6 months, I've been consistently doing alpha tradiol mixed with stamoxidine and a little tiny bit of RU58841. Now, there's all sorts of variables there that I could get into in my amount, but basically, I've been doing it for the past, since November, so that's about 5 months at this point, and I haven't noticed it make any progress in the hairline. Now, I think my hair up here has been thicker. Like, where I have it, I think it's not only preserved and there's no diffuse thinning, but it definitely feels thicker. But I don't speak of that too positively, because if you basically have, if your hairline starts, I don't know, like where my hand is, but it's all thick back there, I mean, who cares? It's going to look like crap. I'm not going to comb it all forward. I mean, I guess the thing would be, like, if my hair kept receding, okay? My hair just keeps receding in front, but eventually I'm able to stabilize it somehow with some insane dose of something, and then it stops and it's thick back here. I guess then I'm a prime candidate for a hair transplant, so that would be nice. I mean, the way I look at it is, if my hair keeps receding, I just want to buzz it and get used to it, because eventually I'm going to go bald. But if I could stabilize it at a point where it has recessed a lot, and I know I can stop it from receding more. I don't mind having a really high hairline, like basically something where it like starts back here and I don't know, getting some island transplanted essentially, you know. Um, or just something, if you see Joe Tillman, something like he has. I mean, basically to have hair up there. If I could get it stabilized, I would accept a very high hairline or even something where anyone who looks at me is going to think I'm just naturally receding. If a transplant could do that, like I don't mind that. I don't know, even the look sort of Hugo Weaving in The Matrix, the guy who played Smith. You know, even something like that. It's like, well, like I think us hair loss sufferers always see them, we're like, oh my god, you know. But I'm thinking as a kid, I always thought he looked cool. Like he still didn't look like a bald guy to me, which is kind of to me like what you don't want to look like. Like even if you have some hair, in a way that's kind of better than being a bald guy. But like I said, if you're going to get there eventually, why not buzz it and accept it? So I keep getting off track with this. But yeah, I've been doing that in the morning, the stamoxidine, alpha-trirodiol, and RU. I also take my Dutasteride in the morning. That's only been twice a week. Just now I'm starting to do it every day. For the longest time, for the last year, it's been twice a week. And then I was using Rogaine once at night. And that's what's also changing with my regimen. I am going to be doing Rogaine twice a day and adding tretinoin to it. And I think I'm just going to do the Rogaine on these corners. Now, one thing I've thought about doing is doing that thing with the Rogaine, like putting the tretinoin on. I think they recommend it at night. Then doing Rogaine twice a day. But only doing it on this one side. And then with the other side, maybe just try Rogaine and microneedling. Because I'm not I have messed with microneedling in the past, but frankly, this is my own fault. Sorry, there's a truck back there. I just want to make sure I'm not somewhere I'm not supposed to be. Oh, maybe that's what this guy's gonna come tell me. No, he just drove past. Frankly, I haven't been consistent enough. I cannot speak to the efficacy of microneedling because I have not been consistent enough with using it. And when I've been consistent, I haven't been consistently using Rogaine. So I'm not going to jump on microneedling and tretinoin at once because if I only need to use one of them, that's a lot preferable than having to do both. And it's also more beneficial to the community. Like maybe I'll be using tretinoin and minoxidil for 6 months and say, hey, it works. Or maybe I'll say, it doesn't work. And then I'll add microneedling too, and I'll get a lot of results. And that way people will know, hey, this works. So yeah, I'm kind of like I'm willing to be a guinea pig right now because, like I said, my recession is far enough that I'm sort of like, unless I get things under control, I'm sort of fucked. So I would still like to do videos that would be beneficial for other people. And another thing I might do is just kind of pick different topics and read through Reddit posts. Like read through posts about people who increased their dutasteride dosage from twice a week to once a week. Read about people who increased the dose from twice a week 0.5 to twice a week 2.5. People went from dutasteride to finasteride. All these different things that I've looked up as I've suffered from hair loss. But, people spend time reading about it anyways, but surprisingly, there's not many videos on them. And I nothing else, I think there's a market there. So that might be all I have to say for now. I'm thinking if there's something else I wanted to mention. I could really talk about hair loss all day. Not in a positive way. I don't like that I have it, but it becomes this obsession where it's like when you think about it, you just get really depressed and your outlook gets very bleak. And all you can do is talk about it. And I'm trying to be self-employed, so it's like just a poison to that, because when you're self-employed, you have to just work through on your own motivation, essentially. And when you're dealing with something like this, it's really hard to convince yourself to stay motivated. It's really hard to see the point in doing anything. But here I am. I figured doing these vlogs might help, and getting some feedback might help. Maybe I'm doing maybe what I'm doing will work for someone and not other people. Like maybe it's something with my genes. I don't know. Maybe there's some black guy who works just fine doing it twice a week. And then another guy's like, hey, I look like you. I'm like dirty blonde hair and from Irish/Scottish background. And I can guarantee you that this works for me. And it might work for you too because our genes are sort of the same. There's all these little things I think with that I wonder about with different people's genetics. Will they make different drugs or different treatment work better just because of different people's backgrounds and where they come from? I mean, outside of hair loss, I just think genetics are fascinating, and there's so much different from individual to individual just based on, who they came from, really. I guess environmental factors over generations are probably affecting things too, and how those people bred, how they evolved. But I could go on a whole tangent there. I guess I could talk. I have a little bit more time here. My clock's not on right now. I said I started in 2015. We're in 2023 as of this recording. So that's 8 years. And I cannot remember my specific history of when I was on finasteride, when I was on name brand, when I was on generic. What did I change the dosage at points? I know there was a while where I thought I was getting side effects from finasteride. Turned out that was not the case. It was something related to my work. I convinced it had nothing to do with the drug now. But I panicked and got off of it, and I can't remember the mind state I was in. I was just sort of like, fuck it. I'm going to just lose my hair because I don't care. Embrace a life without it. I hate saying embrace the bald life. I think it's so stupid. Like all the talk of like trying to talk people up. It's like, look, you're less attractive. You look funnier. You look weird for your age. Unless you have really good features for looking bald. Like just accept it. Like stop. Like trying to talk yourself up and look really cool and all that shit. But either way, I've basically been like, you know what, I'm just gonna go bald. And I was off it for a little while, and then I went back on it. And there's all these little things in my timeline that if I really pick them apart, I could probably make a better analysis of. I do have pictures all throughout the years because one of the things is I used to have skin issues, which is worse than hair loss, in my opinion. If one's going to be permanent, it's definitely, like, acne is the worst one. But I would document all this stuff with photos, and of course you could see my hairline in those. So I just have a ton of pictures of progress throughout the years. I wish I could correlate them to all the different treatments I was trying, but unfortunately I can't. I don't have all that documented as well as I would have liked. But I can do a picture log throughout the years with some commentary, and maybe that will help some people. So as much as I would like this to go on, I think the pharmacy's probably open now. I got to get my medicine, and then got to get home and get back to work. If anyone finds this video, let me know. Let me know if you like it. Let me know what else you would like for me to talk about. And I will see you in the next update.